Welcome to the Boat Dealer Profits podcast. I am your host, Matt Sellhorst, creator of the Splash System, founder and CEO of Boat Dealer Profits and Boat Dealer Profits Marketing Agency, where we help family owned boat dealership owners and managers stop wasting time and money on marketing and sales approaches that just flat out don't work. We jumpstart them using powerful approaches that actually reach their exact targets so they can sell their inventory faster for higher prices, boosting profits, cutting interest and curtailment payments, and giving them more stability, more predictability, and more time to enjoy the business, even if they're already running a successful dealership. So, thank you for joining us on this episode of Boat Dealer Profits podcast. We are going to be talking about what I'm calling digital billboards. Now, let me paint a picture for you because I've written an article in my latest article in boating industry that's coming out here, I think in June or July, on retargeting and remarketing. And I decided on the podcast I would make it even less technical. Have you ever been online and looking to buy a truck or doing some research on a product or service, and then all of a sudden you start seeing these ads following you around on Facebook as you're looking at the weather, as you're checking out your email or checking out the local news or the going to ESPN and checking the sports or even on Boat Trader or the Whole Truth or iBoats or boats.com, any of the websites out there that show ads. Now, this is a strategy, the digital billboard strategy that I want to share with you today is something that I think every boat dealer, manufacturer, broker should be doing. It should be a base of their system because it essentially gets you in front of the exact right people at the time that they're looking to buy. Now, what we know about people buying boats is it can take some time. That we know they start their research early. Marcus Sheraton, if you listen to his webinar that the Marine Manufacturers Association did a couple weeks ago, probably maybe a couple months ago by the time you're listening to this, if you have read any of the research that's out there on how people are shopping, they're going online early in the process and they're researching information, they're looking for insights, they're looking at inventory, but as you are also painfully aware, the number of online leads is going down. You're not getting as many as you used to. You don't have the ups just walking into your dealership and getting those door swings. You are likely not getting the same level of phone calls, although I have to say some of my dealers are, because of some of the strategies that they put in place to counteract the way people are shopping today, and the swing of the pendulum of where the power lies and where the information lies is the consumers can find an awful lot of information online, and they don't want to, nor do they have to. Talk to a salesperson to get what they consider the information they need to continue their shopping progress down that educational spectrum of the boat buyer. So let me tell you what I mean by digital billboards and how they can follow around your perfect target. So I'm gonna use some technical jargon, and then I'm also gonna come back and put it in just terms that everybody can understand. And that's why I like the term digital billboard. There is a concept of retargeting and remarketing, which is a way to go after and get your message in front of people on Facebook and what's the Google Display Network. Basically, 90% of the place on the internet that you see ads that isn't Facebook or Instagram, that's the Google Display Network. Okay, that's about 90% of it. So here's what you are able to do with the technology that's out there today, whether you're aware of it or not. I'm going to explain it to you as if you know nothing about this, as if you've heard this for the first time, because by the research that myself and my team have done, we're showing that only about 10 to 20% of the boat dealers actually are set up to even do this. So if only 10 to 20% are set up to do it, there's probably fewer than that are actually doing it, and fewer of that are doing it the right way or the best way. Okay, it's not a knock on anybody if you're doing it. It's not a knock if you're not doing it. It's hey. It's just like when you see somebody cruising down the lake with their trim all the way up and they're just plowing through the water in a no wake zone. And you're like, all you need to do is pull the throttle back to idle, put your drive all the way down, and you will not be making everybody upset. They just don't know any better. It's the same thing in your situation. You just don't know any better. But that's what this episode's all about. So I'm hoping by the end of this, you say, oh, well, crap, we need to be doing that. So here's what you're able to do. And there's several different steps to it. So I'm going to try to break it down for you. The first is you can track people that have been to your website and you can say, hey, this device, you don't know it's the person, but you know this device, or if they're signed into their Facebook account or if they're signed into their Google account, you know this user. You don't know it's Matt Sellhorst, but you know it's my Dell laptop, and you know it is this Facebook profile ID number, whatever it is, and this Google account ID number, whatever it is. Um, and they've been to my website and they've looked at these particular pages. So what I want to do is I want to put my digital billboard in front of him as he is on Facebook, on Instagram, surfing the web, checking his Gmail account, going to ESPN.com, going to Boat Trader or iBoats or the Whole Truth, or going to this chat room or that chat room. Any of those places where you see ads, you can then follow them around with a digital billboard. Now, what's really exciting about this opportunity and why I feel everybody should be doing it is because there's very, very little waste. In so much marketing, there is a lot of waste, which means that if you're doing radio spots or TV spots, or you're just doing, banner ads on websites, well, there can be the potential for a lot of waste of people that aren't actively searching for boats, that aren't boaters at all, that don't qualify financially, that don't have the interest in the boating lifestyle, especially on radio and TV, sometimes in print, depending on the print media. You certainly don't have much control over the financial ability. Is it a 12-year-old kid that's just surfing around and checking things out? Those are things that you don't know. But with the ability to show these digital billboards only to people that have been to your website, if they've been to your website and they've looked at your inventory, what do you know about them? Well, yeah, they're likely on the educational spectrum of a boat buyer. They're likely somewhere in that process of researching, evaluating, or they're a now buyer and they're ready to make a buying decision. Now, again, they don't like to talk to salespeople, so oftentimes they're not submitting the form. They're not asking questions about the inventory, and so the only thing you can do is just hope they come back. Well, with this digital billboard strategy, you can say, no, you've been to my website, so over the next period of time, I want to show you these ads with our logo, with our business name, with the type of boats that we sell, with the call to action, and I want that to link to this specific page on my website that this person would find valuable, and I want a good solid message to drive them. Okay. So that's the concept. Now, you can also do that same thing if you have somebody's contact information, if you have their email address, their phone number, their address. You can put that into these ad platforms, Facebook, the Google Display Network, Instagram, and you can say, hey, these people, I want to show ads as they follow around. Now, they may have been to your website as well, but even if they haven't, you can show your digital billboard just to those people, a highly qualified prospect that you have engaged with in some manner. They've requested more information online. You've met them in the showroom. You've met them at a boat show. You ran into them on the water. They're your service clients. They are people that have bought from your pro shop or your ship store. They're your storage clients. They are a relationship with the marina that you may have. They're part of your boat club. Whatever the case may be, you can say, hey, these people, I also want to follow around with this digital billboard. Now, here's what's so great about it is instead of showing it to everybody online, instead of paying huge dollar amounts for just doing Google AdWords, which I love Google AdWords when you do it the right way and you use it in conjunction with this strategy. So this is just one of the pieces of the splash system. I apologize about my cough and my allergies are going strong. So you're able to follow those people around. Okay. Again, Facebook, Google Display Network, virtually anywhere where ads are shown online. Okay. You can do it with your past boat buyers. And this is a more advanced step, but you can also say, okay, here are people that have bought boats from us. And if you've only been, I have a dealer right now that they just picked up a new line that's new, it's kind of a new category for them. So, all right, here's what you need to do go out to the manufacturer and get all of the owner data in your market area and get that information And what we're going to do is we're going to put them on the list, but we're also going to do what's called a lookalike audience. So we're going to take that and we're going to say, find us people that have similar characteristics as these people. Well, guess what? If they are into the similar lifestyle, if they're that birds of a feather flock together concept, if they bought this type of boat, then it's likely that other people very similar to them will buy that type of boat. Now, the more data you have, the better, but even on a small scale, it can work very well. So you take your past clients, your past prospects, any of the clients that you have from your manufacturers, and you create a very, very tight lookalike audience that you can do it on Facebook where it's a 1%, 5%, 10%, 50% similar. So you want to do it in a very tight range because you're not concerned about reaching everybody with this strategy. You're concerned about reaching the right targets consistently so that you're always in front of them. So when they do get that inclination to buy a boat, that they're going to see your ad within a minute of being online, that they're going to be just compelled. They're going to be compelled to click on it and to look at the inventory you have and to likely call your dealership. So it's not a strategy where you're doing a mass market. That's what's not working very well these days, is just doing a mass market approach where you're trying to get as many impressions as you possibly can. I would rather get just a handful of impressions to the exact right people that we're in front of over and over and over. The other thing that happens with this is you keep them engaged in the boating lifestyle. You don't let them forget that they've considered a boat. You don't let them forget that they've been shopping for a boat, that they had the interest to go to your website. They had the interest to submit a lead. They had the interest to show up at a boat show. They had the interest and they owned a boat or bought a boat from you at some time. And so now you're just in front of them over and over and over with a compelling message to get them to click and take another step down that educational spectrum of a boat buyer. So when you put all of those together, the reason this is such an amazing strategy is it's very highly targeted and you can do it on a shoestring budget. You don't have to have $10,000 to do this. You can put a very small amount towards this and you can start dialing in your message. And you can run this all year long. You can run it just in the heat of the season. But the key is that you're just consistent and persistent. And always, every time they go on Facebook, they're likely to see your ad. Every time they go on to the Google Display Network and they're looking at ESPN, they're looking at Boat Trader, they're looking at the Whole Truth, they're looking at whatever websites they go to, they're going to see your ad and it's going to keep that at the top of their mind. That reticular activator, which if you have listened to some of my other training, that reticular act excuse me, I can't even get it out. Reticular activator is going to fire and say, boats, I'm interested in boats, I've got to look. I'm interested in boats, I've got to look. And they're just over and over and over going to get bombarded with that message. And what it's going to do for you is over time, when they do get in front of your salespeople, you've got them not totally pre-positioned because you've got to have the right messaging. You've got to have the right messaging on their website when they do click. You've got to have the right communication and the right strategy in place. But you can mold them into a very highly pre-positioned, pre-qualified, and predisposed prospect to buy from you when you do it all the right way. So when you do that, it's very effective. But there's a few things you have to have in place first. So the first thing that you have to have in place, and the research that my team and I did, Christy went through, oh man, she probably went through 500, 600 websites and just checking, do they have this stuff on there? And we've got a little super secret tool that we can kind of peek behind the curtain of your website and see how it's set up, and are you set up to do this type of thing? So she went on, and I did some of them myself just to kind of see what some of the folks were doing. And there's a little snippet of code called the Facebook Pixel. Now, if you don't know how to do it, there's some easy how-to videos. It's pretty simple. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to have us help you with it after you listen to this whole thing. And then there's the Google remarketing code. That's a little bit more technical, a little bit more difficult to get, but essentially think of it like a sentence that says, hey, please track anybody that comes to this web page and put a little check mark on them and follow them around when they come back to Facebook, or follow them around when they're on a website that shows ads. And we only want to show it to people that have been to our website or that we have given you the contact information for, or they look like the people that we've given you the contact information for. And we only want to show it to those people that are at least 35 or older, or your whatever your demographics are, right, for your boats. You may adjust it based on the manufacturers that you carry or the lifestyle. So your yachts may be 50 plus, your runabouts and pontoons may be 35 plus, whatever you know about your marketplace. And you say, we only want to show it to them. And on Facebook, we only want to show it to them if their income is of this level. Now, all of this could be changing right now as I record this. This is all possible. This targeting stuff is ever evolving, and they're coming up that, hey, we're going to take some of this away, we're going to give you some more of this. So as of right now, income is still a parameter, and you can add other parameters as well if you have a really defined what I call an avatar of what your perfect prospects looks like, on top of the people that have been to your website that are on your list, that you have name, email address, maybe phone number, maybe address, and those that look like them. And then you can lay another level of targeting to get even more of the right people, to cut out those 12-year-old kids that have been to your website, to cut out the people that are just dreaming and getting their vision board picture from your website, right? So you put that on there, and that sentence, that little Facebook pixel and Google tracking code, the remarketing code, you take that and you put it on your website on all of the pages that you want to track people if they've been to this page. So maybe you say, all right, we don't want to worry about people that have been to our service page. Maybe you have another business arm that's on your website. We don't want people that have looked at our rental units, or whatever the case may be. In my research, there's a lot of dealers that have other kind of tangent businesses, and so those you might want to, hey, we don't want to retarget and remarket those people. We don't want to follow them around with our big digital billboard, and so you'll not put it on those pages. But here's what's cool is, once you get this code, all you have to do is email it to whoever does your website and say, hey, put this on these pages, right? And they should. Now, I've done this for people, and we've had some of the big guys. We've emailed it to them and said, hey, please do this for us, and give them very explicit instructions, and it gets done improperly, which tells me that, man, either they're not as versed in this as possible, or maybe our instructions were bad. But it just, to me, it raised a big red flag. But you should be able to email it to your web person, and they should be able to get it up for you very easily. So that's the kind of the technical side, that once you get this stuff on your website, once you get those little codes, or those sentences, think of it like a sentence in a different language than you speak, the language of computers. Once you get that little snippet of code on there, from that point forward, you can start tracking all the visitors to your website. So one of the first things that we've been doing over the last year or so with our clients is saying, hey, day number one, when we start working together, let's get this added to your website. It's like the first, it's actually the second thing in the splash system that we get people to do. Anytime we talk to a new client, it's the first thing we do when we're starting to actually do their marketing for them, because you can't go back to people that have visited your website until you have this code on there. So if you don't have it, you need to get it. If you're like, Matt, man, this is way over my head, you've lost me in the last 5 minutes, here's what I want you to do. Email me your website, and myself or Christy will check your page. Do you have it? If you have it, is it installed properly? Is it firing properly? Is it working right? Right? Because you can, if you put it in the wrong place, if you don't do it just right, if you even mix up one little thing, it can cause it not to work. And sometimes website changes, sometimes upgrades on the back end of your website can cause problems. So it's important to have somebody that's always going to be on top of it and always going to be checking, whether it's yourself or whether it's a company like us, or whoever manages your website. And an even more special offer is, if you say, we really need to get this done, and I don't trust anybody else to do it. I don't want anybody else to do it. I don't know how to do it myself. Here's what we'll do is, for $197, I will go ahead and do it for you. Myself and my team, Lindsay and Christy and myself, will get you everything that you need. You'll fill out this form with some of your information. You'll have to do a couple clicks to give us approval that we need, and we will actually get it installed on your website properly. Now, depending on who you use for your website, that may mean giving us the contact information for them so that we can coordinate and confirm that it's all on properly. For 200 bucks, we'll do it for you. You're not obligated to do anything else with us, but we will get that code installed properly on your website. Now, why am I doing that? Well, first of all, it's really important to do, and it's something that I believe is a huge opportunity in the boating industry is to do a better job of following up. It's a part of the splash system, the 24/7 boat selling machine. It's the part that is missing most often throughout the industry. So when we are losing opportunity to other what I call fun money industries, the RV industry, Disney and the vacation industry, the pool industry, all of those industries are doing they're cleaning our clocks in most marketplaces because people are overwhelmed. They just don't know about the capabilities of the digital marketing. And it's one of the areas that we want to come in and partner with the right people in certain marketplaces and show them the right way to do it. Not to invest $50,000 a month in marketing, but to spend as little as possible to get the maximum results. And so this is an easy start to it. Now, ultimately, what will happen is we may see an opportunity in your marketplace, and I may say, hey, would you be interested in taking advantage of this other opportunity for us to actually manage this for you and do that for a test run and position ourselves to potentially work together after we've proven the success. So that's why we're doing it. It's very inexpensive. We can check your site for free. All you've got to do is just email Matt at boatdealerprofits.com. Send me your website and we'll check to see if everything's installed properly. If it's not, you can let us know. Hey, Matt, we want you to put this in $197, which we are making zero money on that with the time and effort that it takes. However, I think it's that important, and I think it's something that everybody should be doing. So that you can, I mean, just imagine somebody visits your website, somebody comes into your showroom and you get their contact information. Somebody looks like, looks very close to those type of people, age, income, interest, website activity, all of that stuff. They look very similar to them. And now your ads are showing up in front of them over and over and over. And instead of spending, $5,000 on a radio spot over a 2 month period of time where you're reaching 200,000 individuals, but 195,000 of them have zero interest in boats. The other 5,000, maybe they hear the commercial when it's on, maybe they don't. Maybe they're listening to Sirius Radio or they're Pandora, or they listen to something else and they're not listening to the radio. Maybe you do a TV ad and they've got like my family does Hulu and Netflix, and we canceled cable long ago, or maybe they're DVR everything and fast forward through the commercials. So it's so targeted that you don't have to have that huge budget, and it's highly effective because it helps your salespeople sell it. It keeps your name and your dealership in front of those perfect prospects, and it's always driving them back to the right pages on your website with the right messages. So that's why I feel it's so important. I mean, just imagine that your dealership is always in front of those people that have been to your website, that have are inquired about a boat, that have engaged with your sales team at some point. And you're always there. You're always in front of them, and you can do this for your entire database. Like I said, on a shoestring budget, really for peanuts. So get that looked into. If you don't know for sure if it's on there, shoot us an email. If you know for sure it's not on there and you want it on there, you have to shoot me an email and say, "Hey Matt, we want to take advantage of that $197 offer." And Christy or myself will get back to you. We'll send you all the questionnaires of the information that we need. It'll take you a minute or two. You should have everything real quick and easy, and then we'll start queuing people up and start getting it installed for you as quickly as possible. And here's what happens. The one is you get the traffic, but there's a byproduct of it. The byproduct of your billboard being in front of the exact right prospects all the time. I have a dealer that I work with, and we're doing the strategy with them. But they invested like $20,000 in a billboard that is off the interstate on their property, and they bought the billboard, so it was an investment, and they've got their business on both sides of the billboard. And his theory was, well, if we're always in front of them, then we're going to get them to stop by when they're ready to buy a boat. Well, that very well may be true, but that billboard is only seen as they're cruising by that interstate, either in rush hour traffic or they're going by at 70 miles an hour and they may or may not even notice it. The thing about the digital billboards is they're seeing it as they're scrolling on Facebook and just kind of, you know, wasting time and just checking up on what people are doing, or when they're actively searching and online surfing the news or surfing sports scores or doing their shopping or doing their research on whatever product they're going to buy. And you're always in front of them. That, whether they even register it or not, that repetition and that consistency, month after month, year after year, is that's going to build your recognition in the marketplace amongst boaters as the place to be. So when they say Matt's Marine, in the back of their mind, they're going to say, I know those guys. And if you do it right, they're going to say, I like those guys. I trust those guys. So you get that know, like, and trust factor. And that's kind of a byproduct. But the initial goal is to get them back to your website, moving the sale forward, moving them down the educational spectrum. But the byproduct of that, and I hate to even say it because it goes against the, I think it's a major problem. The brand recognition that you get is a byproduct. I hesitate to use that because I believe brand recognition is can be a complete waste of money if you're just trying to get brand recognition. But brand recognition as a byproduct of of trying to get the number one goal, which is to move a specific sale forward, I think is great. I'll take that all day long, especially for the small amount that it takes to invest to put this strategy in place. So that is the digital billboard strategy. I hope you understood it. I hope I explained it clear enough. Excuse me. I hope it explained it clear enough that you're like, we have got to do this, and you either tackle it yourself, you find somebody to help you with it. If you want that to be us, we'd be glad to put together a proposal for you, do some research, but certainly make sure that tag is on there. Make sure if it's not on there that you get it installed right away. Don't delay, because every day that you delay is a day that you're missing website visitors. I had a coaching call this morning with a client, and he said, we're getting 700 to 750 visits a day to our website. And we put that code on his website, probably 3 months ago. So there are thousands of people now that we have put that little mark on and that we are retargeting for them. That we are now showing their ads over and over and over and over to people that have been to their website, and they're starting to see people coming in and saying, "Hey, yeah, we are, they're well positioned," is the way the client put it. They're extremely well positioned because of the other tools that we have put in place for them. That is a more comprehensive installation of the splash system. So this is a huge step forward, a huge leap in the success of your marketing investment. Over time, the snowball that this builds for your dealership. You'll look back at this episode and you'll say, I'm so glad I listened to that entire episode. I'm so glad I took advantage of that information and implemented, because we've seen a world of difference in our prospects. We've seen a world of difference in the traffic. We've seen a world of difference in the pre-positioned nature of the people that we are now talking to, and we're highly effective. So thank you for listening to this episode of the Boat Dealer Profits podcast. As I said, if you're interested, we help busy family-owned dealership owners and managers stop wasting time and money on marketing and sales approaches that just flat out don't work in 2018. We jumpstart them using powerful approaches that actually reach their exact targets so they can sell their inventory faster for higher prices, boosting profit, cutting interest and curtailment payments, and giving them more stability, more predictability, and more time to enjoy their business and their life, even if they're already running a successful dealership. So if that is of interest to you, you can email me, Matt at boatdealerprofits.com. Say, hey, we should talk, and I'll give you a free one-on-one strategy session. Right now, if you have time for that type of conversation, we definitely need to talk, but we can do those earlier in the morning before you get started. We can do them in the afternoon when you have a lull, or over your lunch hour, or when you're on a delivery and you're got some windshield time in the truck, and we can have that conversation then. But here is what I know is we have been so successful with so many various types of dealers across the country in North America. I've recently sent books to the Netherlands. I've got some people that are finding my stuff in the Netherlands and Australia, all over the world, really, which is super exciting. And If you want to talk, you can go to boatdealerprofits.com/success and just fill out that quick form. It'll take you to my scheduler. Pick a time where you have time to talk, and don't let another season pass. If you're not going like gangbusters right now and moving all your inventory, if you have 2017 still on your inventory sheet and those curtailment payments are catching up with you, you need to reach out. Give me a call. We're going to be able to help if your market area is open. Take advantage of that strategy session. 803 526 7400, extension 710 will get you to me. But thank you for listening, and we will talk to you on the next episode. Take care.